for our very first Dads United show, man. I'm so excited that you joined us, man. We got an incredible show, our first show. I'm pumped. I'm psyched. I'm ready to get started. I am your host of the show, Antar Muhammad, and I am the owner or the founder and CEO of Dads United Incorporated, and it's an organization that was developed to help motivate and encourage and strengthen the good dads out there. Here to show the world good dads truly do exist, man. We're not a myth. Society is trying to push us to the wayside and try to say that we no longer matter, that we don't exist. But I'm here along with some other great brothers to prove that that is a myth, that good dads do exist, man, and that we're here. And we actually do enjoy the presence of our children and being with our children, man. And we love the fact of being a dad. And so thanks so much for joining us. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Got two girls, two daughters, 14 and 11. And so, you know, I was raised in the house without my father. I would see him on the weekends, and we would talk. And I had a stepfather, but I've always longed for that great bond between father and son. And my father and I, we have a great relationship, but it's nothing like the love of a father. And so hopefully through this organization, we begin to build up fathers and begin to get those other fathers who are not fully engaged with their children to re-engage and to get back involved with your kids, man. That time is of the essence, and you're going to absolutely value or rather miss that time that you could have been there with them. And so hopefully through this positive reinforcement that these dads see some great dads out here and strive to be a better dad. No matter the relationship with the woman, with your mom, your baby mama, or your ex-wife, or whoever she is, man, it doesn't matter. The relationship with the kids is what matters, and so hopefully we can begin to reinforce those relationships. So I got some great guys on the panel with me today. I got Mr. C.J. Turner. C.J. has been married for 14 years now. He's the father of two boys and a daughter, and recently a grandson. And C.J. grew up with his dad, but his dad was working a lot, so he was sometimes kind of distant. And his father was in and out of prison for a number of years. And but C.J. turned his life around and made some really great decisions, and is now the executive manager of a Fortune 100 company. C.J. has a great story that actually brought him to this place, and we'll hit about that later. DeMarco is a married man of 6. I'm sorry. Welcome C.J. Turner to the show. C.J., thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Anton. I appreciate it.
Sorry, man. I don't want to leave you out, bro. DeMarco Jones is a married guy, been married for 6 years, the father of 3 sons. He was a young teen father when he started. His dad was in and out of his life for the first 6 years of his life, and eventually his mother and father divorced, and then he had a stepdad around 8th grade, but by then he'd already started acting crazy, as most teenage boys do, and developing his own decisions and opinions about life. He's turned his life around and made some really great choices, and now he's an engineer for a Fortune 500 company. Welcome to Marco. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Anton. Appreciate it.
This next guy is one of the realest men I know. He's just an absolutely cool brother, and I'm just a big, huge fan of him. He may not be, his name may not be in lights, but trust me, there's so many people who are blessed by this man just being in their lives. Mr. Ken Lewis. Ken Lewis has been married for 28 years. He is the father of 6, grandfather of 12. And he grew up with his father in his life, and Mr. Ken learned a lot from having that relationship with his father. And he currently owns a consulting company. Let's welcome Mr. Ken Lewis to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Antar. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining, man. Let's start, the reason why I wanted to do this show The reason why I started this organization is because, there are a lot of men growing up, a lot of dads now who don't really know what it takes to be a good dad. Either they were not raised with their father, or they were raised, like some of us, the father was in and out of the house. So let me ask you this, CJ, what does being a good dad, what does that look like to you?
Well, being a good dad looks like someone that's able to provide, someone who's able to be there for your kids, through all things, all challenges, all struggles. Being able to make sure that you make that parent-teacher conference instead of the moms always going, because in some of our communities, the mom is always at the parent-teacher conference or the donuts with dads. I can't ever say that my dad was there, but I understood why. But I take time and I make sure it's important that when it is donuts with dads or a track meet or a baseball game or a soccer game or soccer practice or whatever it is, to be there for your kid, to make sure that you're showing support and just being there for them when they're going through, especially like my 13-year-old, going through his puberty stages where, he's liking girls and sitting down and kind of explaining to him, what's important and what's not important, and how to respect a young lady. I think that's the most important thing about being a dad. Not only being a provider, but being someone there that can make sure that you give your kids strong guidance and not trying to be their friend, but being their mentor as well as their dad.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. DeMarco, being a good dad means what to you?
It actually means, for me, I guess more so the relationship, teaching those, so being around, your children, being able to teach them those life lessons that they need, especially as a young man, that they may experience as they grow older, daughters, understanding basically, what to expect with men in their life. Just being supportive, being there, developing their relationship, just teaching them things. So that's what that means to me.
I'm so glad you mentioned daughters, and Mr. Ken, I'm coming to you with the same question, because, until I became a father of girls, I never realized that being a dad in their life, you are really the first representation of a man that they have. You are the first real male relationship that they have, and they learn the voice of a man and the moods of a man based off of you. So that alone is important, because you can't expect your daughters to be a good wife sometimes. Sometimes it does work, but you give them almost no platform to leap off of if they have never had a real relationship with their father. Mr. Lewis, what does being a good dad mean to you, sir?
Leadership, leading by example, building lasting legacy. CJ talked about being there for his son as he goes through puberty, watching and being there, whether it's a soccer game, whether it's an event, the donut situation that you talked about. I think that children, and I certainly know this to be true with my children, is that they know that I will always be in the fight with them. Whether it's my oldest son, who's 43, or dealing with my 46-year-old daughter, or dealing with my 36-year-old daughter, or dealing with my 21-year-old. There are different things that they see in their dad. And one of the consistent things that I've always tried to bring to them is this, that I'm going to stand with you. I may not always agree with you, but I'm going to stand with you, and we're going to work through the different challenges, because there's seasons. There's a season where CJ will be talking about puberty and watching his son and girls. Then we'll be talking about entering the workforce. Then they'll be talking about what it is to be a good father, as you said, your grandfather as well. So we watch all of the things, and the constant thing has to be, as a good father, what it means that just being the best that God has called you to be, and looking on the bright side of every situation that we get challenged with, because there will be challenges. So
Oh,
long as
you
we
know,
show up for
you said something. I don't mean to cut you, but you said something
it's okay.
that's so big, and it so resonated with me. It's the reason why I really started this thing is because although I realize I'm just at the teenage stage, that this is just a phase. No matter what I'm dealing with, like, you know, we went through the Pampers and the bottle phase, and then
Right.
we went through getting them through, you know, elementary school, and that's a phase. And see, a lot of times, a lot of dads give out because they feel like where I'm at is going to be where the rest of my life is, and that's just not true. I mean, it's a
That's correct.
phase. It's a brief moment. It's maybe 5 years, and it may be 5 tough years, and you know, somebody's out there saying, well, you haven't seen it all yet. That's so true. I haven't seen it all, but you can't argue with the fact that no matter what stage a guy is in, a dad is in, they need encouragement through that stage, because each stage brings its own challenges. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Ken?
Absolutely. There will be different seasons. The challenges are going to come. I told you I had to deal with my son today. Came to me today because he had a challenge. Now, after I said what I had to say, I did what a father would do. You've been challenged and you need some help. Let me lay out going forward how you can avoid the next step. You must all of a sudden strengthen your reserves because you got a little spin too much in your game.
Mm-hmm.
So now you come back and you need a little help. But nevertheless, I love that guy, and I know that he'll get it together. And if we embrace every moment with this in mind, we're here just for a season. And what do you want to do? Do you want to have an adversarial relationship? Or do you want to have this relationship where you get excited when you see your children? My daughter calls us and, hey, Dad, can you keep the kids? Well, it's summertime. The grandkids are out of school. I'll bring them on over. I'm not doing anything. Let's go and do it. Let's go have it. So it's about enjoying the seasons of life, Antar, and to the guys who get it. That's what a good dad is. That's what a good grandfather is, man. I'm excited. I love my children. And the thing about it is that you got to first love yourself before you can love them.
Oh man, so that's so great. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Ken. Yeah, I mean, you're just so wise, and I can just sit and listen all day. Let me ask you this, DeMarco, having the upbringing you had, so you know your father was kind of in and out until age 6, and then there was a period where he was not living in the house, and then you had a stepdad. How did that affect you when you had your first child at 19? Is that correct?
That is correct, Antar. The way that it affected me, I guess, growing up with my father being in and out of the house, it kind of forced me to grow up a lot quicker, a lot sooner than what I had expected or what my mother had expected. You know, I gained a lot more responsibility as far as caring for my younger siblings, me being the oldest child. You know, when I had my son coming out of high school at, you know, the age 19, you know, I didn't know what to expect, you know, as far as from a dad's perspective, because, you know, my whole life I've kind of, you know, been around in and out, you know, had a stepfather come in at 8th grade, but as a stepfather, the relationship is not the same as blood father. And so, you know, with him, he did all that he could, you know, with respect to the circumstances of 4 kids that are not his. And we, you know, at that age, 8th grade, we already developed our own mind. So I think for me, with my at 19, I have a 13-year-old now. With him, I think my past experience helped me develop that bond make it a lot stronger. You know, with him, because I never wanted to leave him alone. I never wanted to leave him by himself. I never wanted anyone else to come in and have to pick up my slack. I wanted him to be able to experience life what I expected to experience growing up. So, you know, that's kind of, I guess, where I ended up with that.
You know, a lot of guys use the term or use the excuse, hey man, I don't know how to be a good dad. I ain't have a dad. Well, to that I say that's rubbish. That's foolishness. Just because you didn't have it does not mean these kids don't deserve it, man.
Right.
Don't repeat this cycle over and over again based off of some lofty ideal of what you thought it would be if you had your dad in the house. Okay, brother, I understand it. I know what that's like. Now, I hate to sound tough and I hate to sound insensitive, but I'm going to sound like a dad. Get over it, bro. You now have kids to raise. Get up, be a man, go in there and cover those kids, take care of those kids, man. That's your blood. That is your bloodline that you are denying. That is you. The way they laugh, the way they act, some of that is you. It may have some of the mother in it, but a lot of it sometimes is you, brother. And you cannot deny him, man. That's you all over. So, CJ, let me ask you this question, man. So when you got married, your daughter came in and you came into her life as a stepfather. How was that transition for you, man? What was that like coming in, you're a young guy getting married, and now suddenly you're thrust into parenthood? What was that like for you?
Well, first of all, that was my first child, for say. Deja was 4 when me and my wife Joy got married, and so she was talking, and if anyone know Deja, she always had a smart mouth. So it was times where I'm taking care of this young lady, and providing for her, taking care of her. Her dad was not really there for her as much. You ain't my daddy, you ain't this, so I had to go through all that type of phase. But through all things, I continued to love her and made sure that I provided for her, made sure that I protected her, made sure that I had, serious conversations with her. And to this day, me and her are tighter than her and her mom is. So that's just one thing that, coming into that situation, you just gotta know what you're up for. You gotta be built for it. You gotta be tough. I could have easily thrown in the towel and said, hey, take this little bad little girl and you go on. But I had to step up to the plate and be a man and be a dad, because she needed a man in her life. And like DeMarco said, it was probably a challenge, growing up with a step parent. But to this day, you can ask her right now, and me and her just as tight as her and her mom is.
That's great, man. The title of today's show is The Value of a Dad. And I titled it because I want whoever is watching this to understand how valuable a dad is in the house. Whether you're a father watching this and, man, you think, man, this is tough. These kids don't need me. They seem like they're okay by themselves. The woman don't need me. Why am I here? Why am I bothering? Man, those kids, I'm sending my kids $200 a week. They good. I don't need to do that. I buy my kids the latest Jordans or the latest clothes, and so they're fine. But I'm here along with these guys to tell you that they need you. You will never be replaced by money. You will never be replaced by materials. You want to know an example? Here, look at this. Look at every piece of clothing you've ever given them. Can they still wear it, or have those clothing items been replaced? Every piece of money you've ever given them, do they still have it, or has it been spent? They're all gone. The only thing that's still there is you, the physical you. And I'm telling you, man, no matter what phase you're at, no matter what stage you're in, I'm telling you, brother, you matter. You are appreciated. Don't feel like it, but you are appreciated, man. Your presence in the lives of those children, whether you live with them or not, is invaluable. Nobody can ever take away the presence of you being there in their life. Mr. Ken, let me ask you this question, kind of wrapping this up, and I know it's a short show, and I meant it like that because, I think if you get straight to the point, we're men, we're guys. There's no use in beating around the bush. We don't need a bunch of, preliminary. Let's get straight to it. We're men. We're bros. Mr. Lewis, I want you to help me out. I want you to encourage some young dad out there, whether young in age or young as far as young children, or no matter what age. But this dad is struggling, and he feels invaluable. He feels like, man, I don't matter anymore. I jump off the road if you're a traveling dad, or I come home from a long day's work and nobody seems to really know that I exist. I'm just a money machine. I'm the ATM, and I don't feel like I really have value to the family. Just take about 30 seconds to a minute and encourage that dad, and just say something to him.
You are important. You'll always be important. That is your child. You said earlier that dads matter. We do matter. We make a difference. We make a difference. Even when we don't get all the accolades, when everybody don't get excited when we walk through the door, nevertheless, we are the foundation. And once you put the foundation down correctly, you can build and put anything on the foundation, except the fact that you're in building foundations. And in that foundation, you can build anything you want on it, any type of structure. But your children are going to look at you, and they're going to see how you handle adversity. They want to see how, when things are not going well, how are you standing? How are you treating your mother? How are you treating the wife, their mother? When they know that the money may not be coming in, they may know that there's some disagreements that are coming in. And oh my God, God forbid if there's a tragedy in the family, they're going to look at you and see, how did he handle the crises? How did he handle the crises? Because as long as we live, we know we're going to get faced with something. And we might as well always be prepared to get ready to deal with the reality of the day. It can knock on our door, and it can knock on anyone. But when you stand as a father, and when you stand, you are building history with your children that they will remember. They will remember you coming to that soccer game. So be there, coach that soccer game, be at the donut function, be at every event, be in their lives. And when we end this show, I'm going to the Ferry Building to pick my daughter up, who's 21 years old, who's doing an intern. Her mother could go, but guess what? I want to go because I want to be a part of the process as I watch her grow. So that's it. Enjoy the children. I don't care how young they are. Hey, make sure, DeMarco, that you love on them before you go tonight. I heard you say it's too quiet upstairs. That means that you're a concerned dad. You're concerned. CJ, you on the road tonight because you're trying to make it happen for your family. You're making a good living, but you're working on legacy. Antar, look at the things that you're doing. You started this. We put our arms around you. This is not about us. This is about what God has put in you. We're part of your support mechanisms. And we're encouraging you and all the other folks who will be watching this show because we have to put our arms around you because there are a lot that you're giving out, a lot that you're trying to accomplish, and we know our adversary would love to see you fall. So we're going to hold your arms up, and what you're doing with Dads United is going to go worldwide. You're going to make a difference, and you're doing it right now.
Man, thank you so much, man. I don't want to get emotional, but I appreciate that so much, man. It's
well, you're dynamite, brother.
Thank you. It's a true burden and a true passion of mine to see good dads acknowledged. And I want to tell you, brothers who are standing every day, and you come home, some of you who may travel, you jump off the road, or you come home from a long day's work, and you grab those golf clubs or that basketball, and you go out there and you go and you coach the team, or you play, or you just get involved, and you help your daughters with ballet or whatever it is, man. I want to thank you. Thank you for what you're doing to impact those lives. Thank you. Those kids may never say it. They may never tell you how valuable you are, but I want to tell you, man, you are valuable. As Mr. Ken say, you are leaving a legacy in those children that they will never forget, man. Nothing will ever replace you being in their life. Nobody else will ever replace Dad saying, I'm proud of you. Nobody else will ever replace Dad saying, I love you. Nobody else will ever replace Dad saying, I got you. I'm right here for you. Thank you so much for what you're doing. My brother, if you're watching this show and you are not engaged with those kids at the end of this show, hell, you don't even have to finish this show. You could just click off right now and go and call those kids, man. Call them. Text them. Go see them. Tell them Daddy love you. It may be months or years that's passed by. Go see them, man. If you got to get something right with the courts, man, let's get this done, brother. Let's not be afraid. Let's not let that stop you from connecting with your children. You matter, man. You matter. Don't let your dying soul cry out in regret because you could have spent time and you chose otherwise. Do it today. Do it right now, brother. Do it before you can't do it. Hey, that's been our show, man. I'm so elated. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown away because here you have 4 African American men who have made a choice to make a difference in the lives of their children. You may not see it on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, but we as black fathers, we do care. Thanks so much. Make sure you join us. Make sure you share this link and you share this video with somebody. We have all our information below. Make sure you go to the website and subscribe and send your email. That way you can see all the updates. Our Instagram name is there as well, @DadsUnited. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, God bless and have a great day.